Yo, what's good, my people? It's your boy, Big Chris, aka the Compton Animator, and I'm here to bring you another WWE SmackDown review. So tonight, let's get into this review. Review for SmackDown for April 18th, 2014. So let's get this thing started. So, as most of you know, I review two other shows before I head on SmackDown, and I start off with WWE Main Event, and this week's Main Event was on Tuesday the 15th, 2014, and the show kicked off with a match between, who was they? I was trying to look at the whole team. 3MB versus Los Matadores, and with 3MB, you end up having their own little mascot like Los Matadores has, and you end up getting Hornswoggle dressed up like Heath Slater. This was piss poor, man. And like I really wanted to see this happen in a way because I wanted to see them do more with Hornswoggle and El Torito. Just the whole midget thing is something different for the WWE and stuff. But as far as this match itself, it was done pretty badly. You really didn't get nobody who cared about either team. It ends up going down where Hornswoggle and El Torito are fighting, and they basically won't stop fighting, so the refs have to call it. And then both teams try to break up their guys, and they get hit in the nuts. It was pretty bad. This whole thing was just pretty fucking shitty. I don't know. It got better when they did something different on SmackDown, which I'll talk about. But as far as this goes, it was pretty shitty, and yeah, I didn't really like it at all. It kind of squashed my hopes, and you could tell the crowd wasn't into it and nothing like that. So yeah, it was pretty shitty. So you get basically Hornswoggle and El Torito, who's basically being held back at the end of the match, and there's something with them that's going to happen on SmackDown. So yeah. So next you get Bad News Barrett, who comes out and he's talking to Sin Cara, and he basically cuts a promo on Sin Cara saying, this is the real world. It's not a cartoon like you was in with Scooby-Doo and stuff, and this is not a cartoon. And what else he say? He says, this is reality, and there are no jokes, but the funny thing is that you're a joke. So he said something like that. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but I thought it was pretty funny what he said, though. So yeah, you get into a match with him versus Sin Cara, and he basically beats down on Sin Cara for this match. Sin Cara gets a little bit of offense here, but Barrett mostly gets his stuff in, hits the bull hammer, picks up the pin, and Bad News Barrett's on a roll right now. So yeah, the match was okay for what it was, but nothing too special. Next, you get a Divas Battle Royal, and it's for the number one contendership. I'll talk about this once I say the full match happened. So it's basically a Divas Battle Royal for the number one contendership. This match was horrible. Like, they had an okay amount of time, I guess, but this was a fucking horrible match. Once it started getting down to like 4 girls, it started getting a little bit better, but it was still pretty bad. Tamina basically took control here and started throwing all the girls out and stuff. And then you get her doing a super kick onto Natty, and she gets thrown out, and Tamina ends up winning, and she's the number one contender for the title. Now, I don't know what the hell is going on here as far as just, I don't know. AJ Lee should be number one contender. She has her title shot. I'm not too sure what they're doing right now with this. It's boggling my fucking mind here. It's trying to figure out, okay, WWE, what are you going with this? What's happening with AJ? I don't fucking know. But I'm happy they still kept it into the camp with AJ. You had Tamina who cut a promo saying, she's tired of fighting for other people, and it's her time to be herself and stuff like that, and to do what she's going to do. I think she cuts it on SmackDown and the little side promo thing. But I don't know, man. I'm okay with the match idea, but I still wanted to see AJ Lee versus Paige, but I guess this is okay if hopefully it doesn't mean that AJ Lee is gone, and this is just that they're giving her some time off and she's going to come back and take revenge on Paige. But I don't know. I'll talk more about this when I get to the Divas match on SmackDown. So after that, you get a match with Jack Swagger versus Big Show, and before the match, you get Zeb Culture, who starts talking shit about Cesaro, and basically, saying that once a dirty immigrant, always a dirty immigrant type thing. Thought he cut a pretty fun promo here, and the match itself I thought was pretty fun. A big bruiser type match. Both of these guys were on each other. They didn't give it too much time here, so and they let Jack Swagger take most of the control in the match. Besides Big Show doing a few big moves, but Jack Swagger was really on the Big Show, taking out the leg and stuff like that, hitting his ankle lock on Big Show and trying to get him to tap, and then you get Big Show who gets up from that and knocks out Jack Swagger. I thought it was a pretty chill match. The only problem I had with it was that Big Show won. I don't know what they're doing with Swagger, man. I don't know, what it is here. To me, this should be a match that Swagger should have won. He's the guy that you can probably see going against Cesaro down the line, maybe, or at the pay-per-view if Cesaro doesn't go for the IC title. But you're basically pushing this guy further down. I mean, he's had 2 good matches since he's lost against us. I mean, since he had the breakup with Cesaro, but he hasn't had any wins yet. So I have no idea where they're going with Swagger. So I don't know. But Big Show picked up the win here, and he had an okay match. As far as this show goes, it was mediocre as shit. This show was pretty bad, except the 2 matches that I actually liked with. The one match that I actually liked, I thought the Barrett match was mediocre, the Divas match was pretty bad, and the 3MB match versus Los Matadors was pretty shitty as well. So yeah, this was a pretty bad show. One match don't really save a show for me. So yeah, this was a pretty bad main event. And it's funny because they've kind of had a good run with these main events ever since they've been on the network, having a few good ones. But it was basically because of the in-ring work that was bad. The matches that they set up could have been good if the people worked harder at it, but that's what you get. So enough about main event, and let's go to WWE NXT, and this is NXT from April 17th, Thursday, 2014. And you start off the show with, what's this dude's name? Aiden English versus Colin Cassidy, and you get Aiden English who comes singing to the ring, and your boy Colin Cass, SWSD swooped, coming doing his thing in the ring and stuff, and you get a match between them two. A pretty okay match here. You've seen them fight against each other a few times. I actually thought Colin Cassidy was going to get a win here, but you end up getting Aiden English who gets a roll up after they reverse each other's finishers. So I thought it was a pretty chill match here, and surprised to see Aiden English get another win over Cassidy, the big dude. So yeah, hopefully they do at least one more match with these guys. I think they both have good chemistry, and they also have what they do outside of the ring as far as promos and stuff for both of these guys is pretty chill as well. Aiden English is really good at it, and Colin Cassidy is getting better and better with it. Hopefully we see Enzo Amore come back, but yeah, pretty chill match right here between both of these guys. So next you get Camacho versus Oliver Gray, a returning Oliver Gray. I've never seen this dude before, but they've said that he's been there for a minute. So, a guy who I've never seen before. So it's kind of a good thing to see another face on the show for now. The match itself was okay. The one thing I did like about it was that you got Camacho who came over here and he was doing a nice set of moves here and stuff like that, and he ends up winning in the long run. So yeah, I like the fact that Camacho got a win, and the whole thing with him setting up to be opponent to Adam Rose here was kind of good as well. So yeah, he looks pretty strong here, and the only problem I had with Camacho here was that using the Samoan, Samoan drop or whatever you call it, as a finisher, I don't know, doesn't seem like a type of move that goes with his character. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he can find a better finisher or something like that. But yeah. So next you get the Ascension versus some guys from the NXT roster. I think I've seen one of them before. He was a Western guy, but they just basically got demolished by the Ascension. I actually like this squash match though, because both of the Ascension guys, you could tell that they have really good crowd reaction. They're really tough in the match, and as long as you have a short time with these squash matches, they can make it fun. If the squash match is too long, they start losing a little bit of traction, and if you give them somebody good to wrestle, then they can have a good match. But I thought this was a pretty fun squash match, and the crowd made it even way more fun, just with the yahs and shit. So yeah, that was pretty chill. Next, you get CJ Parker, who comes out cutting a promo talking about how he hates the NXT universe for being dirty, and stuff like that, and that they need to be gold green and shit. A pretty chill promo for what it was. So you get Great Khali, who comes out and interrupts the promo, and they get into a match, and it's basically CJ Parker getting a few moves off on Khali, but ends up getting beaten in the process. I thought the match was okay. You get Khali, who's doing his big slaps and stuff like that. CJ Parker really took control of this match and really worked well with Khali here, and using Khali's better parts to CJ Parker's advantage and make an okay match here. So you get Khali, who comes out with the win here. I expected this. I don't expect CJ Parker to go over on Khali, even though I think that would be a good thing for him to move up further as a heel. Next, you get a set of newbies in the tag team division. You get, what's their names? This dude is Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger. They don't have a team name yet, and they're going against Baron Corbin and Sawyer Fulton. As far as these guys go, as guys I've never seen before, not these guys, but the other team that they were fighting, I thought they had a really good look. Not the ones in the trunks, but the guys you see the one that's getting kicked. I thought they had a better look than these other guys. They had a real vicious, and they were tall as shit too, so that was really good as far as the look goes. But as far as the match itself, it was an okay match here. It was nothing special to it. You don't really have any connection to these guys, so you're just trying to figure out, okay, whether or not you're going to like them from their first match that you see, especially as a tag team. As far as these two guys go, they looked okay, once they get personality, it'll be better. It kind of reminded me of the world's greatest tag team, and just white dude, black dude, and they both kind of real fit and stuff like that, like Shelton Benjamin type shit. As far as the match go, like I said, it was okay. They hit a pretty interesting finisher, a flapjack into a DDT. That was pretty interesting, but anything else, it was just an okay match, pretty mediocre. Next, you get a match between Brodus Clay versus Adrian Neville. A pretty chill match here. Brodus Clay and Adrian Neville had a pretty good ring chemistry as far as it goes. Brodus Clay really hit, a lot of big man moves, and Adrian Neville was flying over the place. I'm happy that the way the match ended, it ended with Brodus Clay being counted out after he tries to go for a splash on Adrian Neville on the outside. It ends up missing, and then ends up getting counted out. And you still get Adrian Neville, who picks up the win through count out. I like this because you don't get neither guy really winning here, but also, you get to show that Brodus Clay is being more and more frustrated by the things that happen, and you have Brodus try to attack Adrian Neville at the end, and he doesn't get the attack happening. So yeah, I thought that was pretty chill. So as far as the NXT show goes, I thought it was a pretty chill show. Not their best NXT show that they had, but I thought it was pretty good, and par for the the course as far as NXT goes. They put on some pretty chill shows. That I rarely see NXT have bad shows, and I thought this was another pretty chill show. You had a few good matches here, and you had some new characters and some new faces that you haven't seen in a while, and some that you haven't seen at all. So yeah. Next, you go on to WWE SmackDown for April 18th, 2014. And you kick off the show with Triple H coming out. And you basically get Triple H. He comes out and he just starts going at it. And hold on a second. So you get Triple H who comes out. He basically starts going at it, talking about the Shield and how he tried to give the Shield a chance. He really loves the Shield, and one of his jobs as the COO is to find these new guys, bring them into the WWE, and build them up. And that nobody has done this the best since he's been doing his job as the Shield has been doing. He's saying, how much, how great the Shield is, but how power has corrupted them and how they got over their heads with this. And that's the reason why he had to form Evolution again. And I like that he ends this whole segment, saying, okay, you know what, we're going to have a match, and the Shield need to apologize for what they did. If they come groveling back to his feet, then he'll probably give them, some kind of leeway or some shit like that. And I like how he ends it with the quote of, what do you say? Hold on, what the fuck does he say? Give me a second here, because I thought it was kind of like an Evolution type quote. Oh, adapt you adapt or perish, basically, going with the whole evolution type thing. You either adapt or perish. That's how evolution works. So yeah, I like that pretty much, and I thought it was a pretty good promo by Triple H. So next you get your first match of the night, which was Alberto Del Rio versus your Intercontinental Champion Big E, and I was pretty excited for this match because you get your match with Del Rio, the guy who beat Big E twice. The Intercontinental Champion beat him twice, and you get to see, okay, does Big E have what it takes to beat Del Rio, and is Big E the right person to be champion right now? So I like the kind of story that they played with this match. And you start getting the guys talking about, even though Del Rio lost to RVD, can he beat Big E again and say that, maybe he does deserve to get another title, to actually get a title shot even out of the tournament. So you get a pretty physical match between both guys. I probably think my match of the night right here. Both of these guys were very physical. They were all over the ring. You get both of them blocking each other moves. I really like how Del Rio and Big E really, just kind of know each other right now. You get Big E who goes for a spear while Del Rio's on the rope and even falls out to the outside. Big E really throws his body out there and really goes all over the place. The match ends up with Big E going for his moveset, but Alberto Del Rio puts him into the armbar, and Big E gets to the rope, and Del Rio keeps the armbar on until he gets a 5 count, and he doesn't let go before before the 5 count, so he ends up getting a disqualification, and Big E picks up the win. And I really, really like this finish because not only does it keep Big E strong, and as far as DQ goes, and saying he gets to the rope, he doesn't tap out, and the only reason why Del Rio loses is because of Del Rio's overconfidence and over brashness and, keeping the armbar on too much. And it also helps Del Rio out with his heel character, showing that, Del Rio's, once he get into something, he's going to finish it and do it. So, I really did like this, what the end was here. And they even did a better job with having Del Rio real pissed off that it happened and that, he didn't let go early enough and starts beating down on Big E and taking his rage out on Big E. Big E comes back, hits him with the big ending, and you get Big E who comes out on top here. And that's really another good thing. So you get Big E who shows, I could have probably whooped your ass if you didn't, cheat, basically. So, I like that ending a lot right there, and I thought it was a pretty chill match. So next you get Paul Heyman who comes out, and he cuts this promo. He starts off talking about how he's the advocate of the King of Swing, and talking up Cesaro good, and then he starts talking up Brock Lesnar and how he beat the Streak, and then he goes on to this crazy rant about how Brock Lesnar and him are the 1 in 21, and he just keeps saying that and saying, he says that a gang of times, or he says how Brock Lesnar beat the Streak, but he repeats this a gang of times, and he just keeps on repeating it, walking around the ring, getting on the ground, tiring himself out, repeating that that Brock Lesnar is the 1 in 21 to get it into the dudes' heads. And I thought it was just really good as far as the promo goes. So yeah, I really like Paul Heyman here. I'm surprised that Cesaro didn't have a match here. I thought that was what this was going to be for, but just as Paul Heyman come out and keep drawing him some more heel heat and keep shitting on the crowd for, their whole loss with Brock Lesnar, and just bringing everybody back to hating on Paul Heyman. I thought they did a good job here. I would have loved to see Cesaro here and build up that more, but you get what you get. So next you get a match with Paige versus Oksana, and before anything happens, they cut another video package with Paige, the same one talking about how, who Paige is and how she's, dominant in NXT, and, showing a video of her coming in and winning the title and stuff like that. Like I said before, I think that I like, her coming in on that day, and that was a perfect crowd to bring her in with. I wish that when she came out there, she was more dominant in her speech to AJ Lee, and, didn't say the whole thing of I wasn't ready and stuff like that. And I wish that she was more brash and bold, because that's the character, what you see on NXT. But you end up getting a match with Oksana, and before the match starts, you get Oksana who cuts a promo saying that all the divas in the back are jealous, but Oksana's not, and he goes in and hits Paige. So you start getting a pretty okay match here with Paige and Oksana. Oksana took a lot of the leeway here in the match and took a lot of the offense here. It really wasn't that great, but for what it was as best as I think Oksana could do. It wasn't as good as the match that Paige had with Alicia Fox on Monday, but you end up getting Paige, who comes off and starts getting a lot of offense after that, after they kind of bump into each other, and Paige ends up getting Oksana into the Scorpion Deathlock, or whatever they call it, Reverse Scorpion Deathlock, or whatever it's called, and picks up the win here. Okay match as far as the Divas match go, and you also hear, you get a promo, I think either before or after the match, with Tamina talking about how, she's on her way to trying to win the Divas title, and now she's finally fighting for herself and not for anybody else. So yeah, Paige is continue on looking strong, and hopefully we can get Paige to cut a promo. I think she can talk pretty well, so hopefully she cuts a promo on her own and not just a video package. So next, you get a match that kind of started bringing down the show a little bit, but you get El Torito versus Hornswoggle. And I don't know how long it's been since we've seen a midget wrestling match or little guy wrestling match, whatever you want to call it. But you get a match that kind of starts off really sloppy. You can tell that these guys, they probably did train for this match, but not enough. And, it is, when you get in that ring, it's more different. It's different than it is, wrestling in a gym or something like that. When you get in front of all those people, the moves are done differently because of the everything that's around you and stuff. So once, I say halfway through the match, it started getting where these guys started hitting actual wrestling moves on each other, and El Torito is really good. You can tell that El Torito can do some real good wrestling moves. Hornswoggle started doing some strongman moves and suplexes and stuff like that, and even hitting some chin locks and stuff. I thought that once it started getting more and more into the match, it started getting a little bit better. You get towards the end of the match, El Torito hits a moonsault off the top rope and picks up the win off of Hornswoggle, and Hornswoggle was pissed at this. So, you get El Torito, who gets his first single match and picks up a win here. And I would say that as far as this match goes, it was okay for what it was, especially for, a match that we haven't really seen before as far as in a long time. And both of these guys' first match as far as against each other, and El Torito's first singles match here, so it was a lot of things going against these guys. But the next thing that happened kind of made up for it. You get you get Wade Barrett, Bad News Barrett, who comes out, and he basically goes, "You people are retarded for cheering for something like that." Basically, I'm paraphrasing again, but he just basically shits on that match and shits on the crowd for even cheering and sitting for that match and stuff, and calls the whole arena idiots. So that was pretty funny. So next you get Lana, who comes out looking hot again, and she comes out and introduces Alexander Rusev, and you get a match with him versus R-Truth. R-Truth starts off with some good offense here, and he looks like he's I think is the first person to actually come off and really do an okay job against Rusev. I think Zack Ryder probably did the same thing, but you finally get to see somebody who's kind of probably studied Rusev a little bit and figured out his movesets and stuff like that. So I really did like that. They played up on that with the characters and stuff here. But towards the middle of the match, Rusev starts going at it and whooping R-Truth ass, ends up getting him into the accolade and making R-Truth tap. And after the match, you get Xavier Woods, who was outside with R-Truth, and he comes in and tried to attack Rusev and try to get him off R-Truth, but he ends up getting a little bit of hits on them, but Rusev ends up whooping that ass, and you get Rusev and Lana, who comes out with the win. I thought this was an okay match as far as a squash match with a little bit of offense goes. It could have been better with R-Truth probably figuring out ways to do a little bit better against him. I would have liked to see more from this, but it was okay for what it was. So next you get a match with Santino versus Fandango. Santino wins with a roll-up. That's all I got to say about this. I don't give two shits about this. So then you get your final match of the night, which was Batista versus Sheamus, and you get a pretty nice hard-hitting match between both guys. Batista looked a little bit more, dominant here, and looks like he's starting to get himself back as far as who he was in 2010. He's not getting winded so quickly here, but he is winded towards the end of this match. But I thought they had a pretty good hard hitting match here. The end of the match goes where Sheamus is getting some offense in, hits his 10 beats of the drum or whatever they call it, and after that Batista gets a spear onto Sheamus after Sheamus tries to go for a bro kick, and hits the power bomb and picks up the win. I like this because it's set up with Batista basically beating down Sheamus with a chair 3 weeks ago, and now you come in them and get the match. Sheamus has been being built up really well here. He's getting a lot of wins lately. Batista, who's gotten some wins here, but lost to Daniel Bryan on WrestleMania. And you got to build up Batista some more. Who's the best to build him up with than a guy who's looking real strong like Sheamus? So I thought it was a pretty chill match and a pretty chill way to end the show. As far as tonight goes, it was an okay show. My internet was fucking up tonight, so it took me a while to watch this show, and I was like watching a gang of shit. I even watched the riff tracks to Twilight in between this, and I was just like, I just needed something stupid as shit to watch while my internet stops fucking up. But as far as this show goes, I would give it a B minus. Probably, I'll give it a C plus. It's not the best SmackDown. The SmackDowns ever since WrestleMania haven't been that great. But I think this one was better than we have, so I'll give it a C plus. C plus is good for this one. I thought that the beginning match with Alberto Del Rio and Big E was pretty chill. I thought the end match with Sheamus and Batista was pretty chill. Everything in between was mediocre to okay, and you didn't really have anything that was horrible. Things that were close to that, like the midget match, but it was what it was tonight. You did have one thing that was horrible, the Fandango versus Santino match, but I digress on that shit. But if that's the right word to use. But it was a pretty okay match here. I mean, pretty okay night here of wrestling, and a pretty chill week of wrestling, So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. If you comment, I will hit you back. I've gotten a few people that comment already, and thank you everybody for that's watching. I do this wrestling reviews just because I want to do them. So if nobody watches, I'll still do them. So yeah, thank you for watching, thank you for commenting, and peace.